Hi, I'm Jake. I make RPG supplements and videos about Pathfinder 2, or PF2. I love Pathfinder 2. Even when they come out with something that I don't like, there's something in it I can still use. Even if I'm not happy with their work, it still benefits me. So today, Warrior of Legend, the class archetype for Fighter. Now, those of you who know the channel know that I'm not the biggest fan of Fighter. In fact, there's a video talking about how much of a fan I'm not of Fighter. So this will be interesting. Warrior of Legend, class archetype. It is said that the greatest heroes are often stalked by an implacable doom, the shadow cast by the light of their deeds. Such warriors of legend often garner great reputations for their prowess and ferocity in battle, spawning legends of their invincibility. These stories almost always end in tragedy, however, for the blessings that carry the warriors to victory are always accompanied by a terrible curse that all but ensures their heroic tales have grim endings. Since the gods' reign scattered divine power across Golarion, more and more tales of such legendary warriors have sprung up all over the world, from Garant to Tiansha, Kazmaron to Arcadia, and across Avestan all the way to the crown of the world. Hallmarks of these stories include heroes and villains who prefer lighter armor, hafted weapons, and who all seem to have an aversion or vulnerability to certain types of opponents. Achilles is really what comes to mind for me. The would-be ruler Gulric the Fierce slew a Lenorm in the depths of the Grungir forest, but was slain by the arrows of lowly bandits before he could claim a kingdom for himself. The warrior Moheaji had just begun to forge a legend by driving pillagers from Blood Cove out of the Kava lands when a slingstone from a halfling raider struck her dead before she even realized she was under attack. That just sounds like a really lucky halfling. This cursed weakness perhaps goes a long way to explaining why certain pieces of gear are so common to the figures at the center of these stories, with each warrior of legend living under the shadow of finding their doom at the hands of a particular threat. Even such staunch stalwarts might prefer a weapon that gives them enough reach to assess their opponent before closing in for the kill, and armor light enough that it won't become a burden if flight becomes the better part of valor. Okay, sure, but I don't think it should be restricted to polearms and spears. Anyway, additional feats, Clear the Way, and Unbalancing Sweep. I'll go over them when it's the appropriate level. And this is Amharan the Curse Blessed. Before I go into the feats, I just want to read this little blurb, because it's cool. It's like a poem. At least it's laid out like a poem. The would-be king. And lo did Gulric stalk the woods, ne'er claw nor fang he feared. When Lenorm rose from 'neath the snow, clean through its throat he speared. Alas, poor Gulric, doomed was he, no throne was he to claim. For ere he brought the beast's head home, an arrow was his bane. That was cool, that was fun. Alright. Warrior of Legend. First level class archetype. You have received a blessing that will ensure your ascension to legend, and a curse that foretells your inevitable fall. You must select Warrior of Legend dedication as your second level class feat. Prerequisites: you must be a fighter. I know that this is for fighters, but I don't like fighters. So I would probably extend this to I don't know, Exemplar? I don't know. That's probably not fair because exemplars are already pretty freaking powerful. Warrior of Legend adjustments. You aren't trained in heavy armor. The armor expertise and armor mastery class features only improve your proficiency rank for light armor, medium armor, and unarmored defense. You don't gain shield block as a class feature. You are trained in both acrobatics and athletics rather than one or the other. Choose one physical damage type, which becomes your cursed weakness. Bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing. You gain weakness to this damage type equal to half your level, minimum 1. You gain Die Hard as a bonus feat, but you become doomed 2 whenever you take damage from your cursed weakness, unless your doomed value is already higher. Oh, interesting. So it doesn't increase it by 2, it just sets it to 2. So if it's higher than that, it doesn't get worse. Alright. I mean, that still sucks. Your fighter weapon mastery and weapon legend class features grant you increased proficiency in both spears and polearms, but you can't choose any other weapon group with these class features. Let's see if there could be some flexibility for that, because an archer warrior of legend would be cool. Warrior of Legend Feats. Warrior of Legend Dedication. Feat 2. Has the traits Uncommon, Archetype, Class, Dedication. Prerequisites, Warrior of Legend. You have been given a powerful blessing of battle that is also your cursed doom. As long as you aren't wearing heavy armor or wielding a shield, spears and polearms you wield gain the parry trait. If the weapon already has the parry trait, increase the bonus when parrying to +2. In addition, you deal an additional amount of damage equal to your doomed value with weapons in the spear and polearm groups. This damage is the same type as the required weapon. Like, for each strike? I think it would be good if it were for each damage die. But that's it. Okay. That is really not a shit dedication. Because it sort of like modifies how you work as a fighter, gives you a bonus, and even lets your doomed thing do extra damage. I would probably say that's per damage die. Level 4 feat, Heroic Defiance reaction. Frequency once per 10 minutes. Trigger, you gain the doomed condition. Even as shadows of your doom haunt the corners of your vision, your implacable spirit surges and cries out that your time has not yet come. You gain temporary hit points equal to your level and a +1 status bonus to all saving throws, both of which last for a minute. Okay. I would probably have an ally then make me doomed before a fight. Because it's temporary hit points and +1 to all saving throws for a minute. Yeah, I mean, I guess that seems somewhat cheesy and certainly not the intention, but so that'd be useful. Just, don't go to 0 and the doom doesn't matter. Next feat, level 8. Oh, we skip 6th level. Oh no, we don't skip 6th level. That's right. We go to Clear the Way. Player Core 2, Clear the Way. This is from the Mauler dedication. Requirements. You're wielding a melee weapon in 2 hands. Makes sense. You put your body behind your massive weapon and swing, shoving enemies to clear a wide path. You attempt to shove up to 5 creatures adjacent to you, rolling a separate athletics check for each target and ignoring the requirement that you have a free hand. Then stride up to half your speed. This movement doesn't trigger reactions from any of the creatures you successfully shoved. Each attack counts toward your multiple attack penalty, but don't increase your penalty until you have made all your attacks. Cool. I really like that feat, that part of the Mauler archetype. Now level 8. Piercing Doom. 2 actions. Requirements, you are doomed 2 or greater. So again, you could have your buddy help you out by doing your weakness kind of damage to you before a fight starts. Like if it were Achilles, somebody be stabbing you in the ankle or heel with a dagger. Bless you. You have grown accustomed to the curse that comes with your blessing, able to channel its effects through your attacks and forestall your own demise. Make a melee strike. On a success, the target takes an additional 1d10 void damage and your doomed value is reduced by 1. Dude, you can just keep doing this though. It doesn't even have the flourish trait. I mean, it's 2 actions, so it doesn't really matter that it doesn't have the flourish trait. But you work better if you're doomed to start with. Yeah, okay. I see no reason not to cheesily start off doomed. Next feat, level 10, Spear of Doom. 1 action. It is a stance. Requirements, an enemy hit you with an attack dealing the same damage type as your cursed weakness within the last round, and you are doomed 1 or greater. Okay. The conditions for your doom have been met, and you brace yourself for a battle that will see you either live to fight another day or die a legend. You enter the Spear of Doom stance. While in this stance, as long as the enemy who triggered your cursed weakness is within your reach, you can strike them as a reaction whenever they succeed or critically succeed at an attack against you. You gain an additional reaction immediately and at the start of each of your subsequent turns that can only be used to make reactive strikes against that opponent or to make the strike granted by this stance. Okay. While in Spear of Doom stance, your curse weakness is equal to your level instead of half your level. Oh, that sucks. So I guess you'll be taking extra damage and dealing out extra damage. That's super dramatic. I actually like that a lot. Because the drama is fun. It sort of makes the fight seem like it has higher stakes. Level 12 feat. Know thy doom. Reaction. Has a fortune trait. Frequency once per day. Trigger, you are doomed 1 or greater and your dying value would increase. As your legend grows, details of your demise become clearer, and you know that it is not yet your time. You can attempt a recovery check using your dying value before it increases, rolling twice and taking the better result. Regardless of the outcome, reduce your doomed value by 1. Cool! That is neat. That is really just helping a lot with the penalty that the class archetype imparts. I love that. I mean, I don't actually think that that was necessary to have in the class archetype, but I like that it is there, because then you have the flexibility of, not dying as easily and being able to reduce your doomed value pretty easily. Next feat, level 14, only my doom may claim me. The power of your legend, fueled by your legendary deeds, resists any weapon that is not tied to your curse. You gain resistance equal to half your level against weapon and unarmed attacks that deal a damage type other than the type chosen for your cursed weakness. That's awesome. You start gaining the reputation of being invulnerable. Because, little arrows and daggers just tink off of you. Now, next, level 14 feat unbalancing sweep. And that is from the Barbarian. It is the a flourish. It takes 3 actions. It's normally level 12, but is level 14 for this class archetype. You make a great sweep with your weapon or fists about yourself, knocking creatures off their feet and away from you. Choose up to 3 enemies within your reach and choose whether to shove or trip all 3 of them. Whichever of the 2 options you choose, roll a separate athletics check against each enemy, performing the same action against each enemy. Each attempt counts toward your multiple attack penalty, but don't increase your penalty until you have made all the attempts. Cool. That's really fun. And this, even though even though this, well, I guess that's not a bad thing. This class archetype seems based on being in the thick of combat. Yeah, you have reach, but, that actually helps a lot with reactive strikes and with unbalancing sweep. You choose enemies within your reach. Anyway, obviously, this lets you far more easily shove or trip a bunch of people because you don't take multiple attack penalties for doing this. And I'd probably trip them, not shove. Unless, they're near a cliff and you critically succeed and you push them 10 feet off a cliff. Otherwise, you're probably choosing trip. Next, class archetype feat level 18, Razor's Edge. Prerequisites, Spear of Doom. And that's the one that's a stance. So, Razor's Edge. Your curse and your power are one and the same, and you accept both equally. You can enter Spear of Doom stance as a free action. Okay. Saves you an action, I guess. Cool. I want to go over a few more feats, because that's really not the end of it from this book. Because that is all that is for the class archetype. However, there are 2 additional fighter feats that are listed along with this class archetype, and there are 2 other feats I also want to go over from the same book that would apply to this class archetype. So, additional fighter feats. These feats are primarily intended for warriors of legend, but are also appropriate for other fighters. Spear Dancer, 1 action, 6 level feat. Requirements: you are wielding a weapon from the spear or polearm group. You favor weapons that allow you to lash out viciously while keeping enemies at bay, giving you an opportunity to strike without fear or reprisal. Use step and then strike with a spear or polearm you are wielding, or strike with the spear or polearm and then step. It's mainly good because you're going to be in the thick of combat, and taking move actions can provoke reactive strikes, and steps don't. So, yeah, it's probably only 5 feet. Probably. Doesn't have to be, but probably. Only 5 feet. But it's going to help you better position, and having reach, you might only need to move an extra 5 feet. Anyway, obviously, it saves you an action. Next feat, level 16, fighter feat. Needle in the God's Eyes, 2 actions. With sinews of bronze and thews of iron, you leap to the heavens, piercing the arrogant eyes of the gods. Leap up to your total speed, either horizontally or vertically, and strike twice at any point or points during the leap. That's great. Each attack counts toward your multiple attack penalty, but don't increase your penalty until you have made both attacks. Obviously, that's fun. And also, obviously, that is a huge tactical benefit. And you make both attacks at full map. It's just great. It's really, really useful. And by 16th level, you probably have a little bit higher than the base 25 speed. So you're like jumping 40 feet forward and stabbing people along the way. Just flying through the air. Yeah, it's pretty cool. All right. So now there are 2 more feats that I want to talk about. These feats are both from the Avenger Class Archetype entry in this book. However, both of them are feats that a fighter can take. They're just added into this book. So I'm going to read them. Haft Striker Stance, level 4 feat. As the traits Fighter, Ranger, Rogue Stance. Requirements, you are wielding a 2-handed hammer, spear, or polearm. Perfectly fits the class we were just reading. You enter stance that allows you to leverage the haft of your weapon to brutal effect as an effective and frighteningly efficient weapon in its own right. You treat the haft of your wielded weapon as a simple weapon dealing 1d4 bludgeoning damage. The haft is in the club group and has the agile and finesse traits. The haft shares any fundamental runes attached to the main weapon, so long as it would normally qualify for them. While in Haft Striker Stance, you can use feats and abilities that normally require you to be wielding 2 melee weapons, each in a different hand, treating the haft as the second weapon, but you can't use abilities that require you to be wielding a 2-handed weapon. Interesting. So this was put in the Avengers class archetype because the Avenger has a lot of 2-weapon fighting feats. This one is not optimal for the Warrior of Legend. But it is still technically available, and it gives you options, and it's just a stance. So you can move into and out of it if you want to be able to hit people with the butt of your weapon. Last feat I'm going to talk about, also in the Avenger, level 10, Haft Beatdown, 3 actions. It has the Fighter, Ranger, and Rogue traits. Prerequisites, Haft Striker Stance, the one I just talked about. Frequency once per minute. Requirements, you earn Haft Striker Stance. The momentum of each of your attacks feeds into the next blow in the routine, creating a brutal rhythm that enables you to give your target 1 continuous beatdown. Strike twice, once with your weapon and once with its haft. Each attack counts towards your multiple attack penalty, but do not increase your penalty until you have made both attacks. Then strike twice again, once with your weapon and once with its haft. Obviously, this is just more attacks and hurting people, and you have to have a 2-handed weapon in your hand. So it's just something to think about. It's another option. I know it was mentioned in the Avenger video already, but just be aware that that could be something that you might want to choose with your Warrior of Legend. Because you get more attacks, and it looks impressive. And also, I don't know if you will have other stances, but it is nice to be able to move out of stances in combat and move into other stances, so you have more options, and also it's an easy way to get out of a stance, especially if one of the stances is a free action. Thank you for lending me your ears and eyes, and if you're a patron, thank you for being here every day and helping take care of the channel. I appreciate it greatly. And to remind everyone, if you don't already know or didn't remember, on Halloween, we're doing a giveaway for a bunch of blood spatter dice and blood bags. There's a video at the end of this that you can click on to put your name in the comments so that you can be part of the drawing. It's going to be for a 9-piece set of blood spatter dice and also 6d6 and also a 45mm. So anybody who is not a patron can be part of this drawing. You just have to be subscribed to the channel, make your subscriptions public, make a comment in that video that I'm linking at the end. It'll be on my left. And come back on the 31st of Halloween when I'm doing my 2-hour live stream to see if you win. That's when I'll be randomly choosing who wins. and that'll be at 4 p.m. Pacific time. You don't get any extra points for dressing up, but it'd be cool if you did. All right, so more War of Immortals here, and that promised video about the set of dice to put your name in the comments. Thank you. Okay, love you. Bye.